The weather is cold, the snow is falling, and it finally feels like winter in Colorado. We've got a weather impact day for you this afternoon as a storm begins to make its way through our state. This is a live look over I-70 near the Eisenhower-Johnson Tunnel, where traffic is, of course, moving slowly. Winter weather advisories have been issued for the mountains, where we'll see several inches of snow, making, of course, for some great skiing. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Mark Salinger. Denver will also get some snow for the first time in a while. It won't be a ton, but it should start immediately sticking to the streets because it's so cold out. Want to get right now to 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Carl Lamb joining us outside in the 9 News backyard with more on the storm. Hey, Carl.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, it is cold out here for sure, and it definitely feels like winter at this point across the Denver metro area. And the snow is falling. It's just starting, and it will start to pick up tonight. Let's show you what we're tracking right now. We have these winter weather advisories in place, and this is specifically for the mountains at this point, and those wind gusts are generally going to reach 50 miles per hour. It's 4 to 9 inches of snow, and it's all the way until Sunday at 3, but let's show you what we're tracking in the backyard here in terms of temperatures right now. Not all that bad, 21 degrees, and well, temperatures are going to be falling as we go into the evening as well. Now here's a look at what we're tracking once again. Look at this. It's been a very gloomy day across Denver. I actually think it probably ranks within the top 10 most disappointing days because we were expecting sunshine, but this fog just did not clear at all. So that's really what we're dealing with. Again, 22 feels like 11. If you've been outside at any point today, you just know how cold it is. Now, again, temperatures right now, we're in the 20s. It's really cold out there. 23 in Colorado Springs, 23 in Lyman, and 19 in Sterling. It's colder there than it is in high country, which is a bit of a twist as well. But again, we are really dealing with this very, very cold air, and we have some snow for areas up in Fort Collins, a little bit down towards Colorado Springs, but this is just starting. I would say the real impacts are for this evening. We'll show you that hour by hour forecast in terms of what to expect, along with some snow totals and that full 7-day forecast if you're headed to the Broncos game as well coming up in a little bit. Mark, back to you.
Well, if you spent your day up in the mountains today, you totally missed all the fog and clouds that we saw here in the city that Carl was talking about. It was clear and sunny and beautiful at higher elevations. Now News reporter Colton Chavez is joining us now from Idaho Springs. And Colton, it was such a great day in the mountains that the traffic on the way home is expected to be historically bad.
Yeah, Mark, when we talked to the Colorado Department of Transportation, they say they're expecting to see record numbers along I-70 right now. So if you're watching this and you plan on getting on the road, now's your time to get on because traffic is moving pretty slowly. Right here, this lane closest to me, this is going to be your eastbound traffic. Other side is going to be westbound. You can see, even if you kind of just compare the two lanes, Mark, you can see that eastbound traffic coming down from those ski resorts. There is a little bit more traffic, and I haven't been skiing in quite a few years because I've been down in Florida, but when I lived here, I know that I think the ski lifts close at 5 o'clock, so it's 5 o'clock now, so I imagine we're going to start to see more of these cars filling the roadway, and I want to go ahead and give everybody a look at what Idaho Springs looked like. We got here up around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and as Mark described, a little bit of fog on our way up here, but sunshine. It was completely beautiful outside. There were people walking their dogs. There were people doing all of the different trails. People that I spoke to even told me when they were coming down the mountain, they said, hey, we thought we were going to have to leave a lot earlier because we thought we were going to get stuck in some bad weather. But it was clearly a very beautiful day up here. A little bit of fog in the lower section of I-70 coming up the mountain, but beautiful once we got above the clouds. Now, when we talk to the Colorado Department of Transportation, when we kind of look ahead to what we expect to see on these roads later tonight, the way they say that they start to predict these higher numbers of drivers on the road is by looking at numbers that they've seen in the past year. They say this time last year, over 55,000 people in one day went through these tunnels. So you can imagine if they're saying that we're going to surpass these numbers this year, that they're going to see even a busier highway here right now. But as I mentioned when I first joined you, Mark, everything is flowing pretty smoothly right now going eastbound. People that I talked to today, just at the gas station here in Idaho Springs, they said, we all decided to leave early this morning to get up to the mountain, and we all decided to leave early on the way back down because we had heard that there was going to be a lot of traffic. Now we're going to continue to bring you all the latest updates, not only here from Idaho Springs, but also down in the metro as well. But for now, we'll sign out from Idaho Springs. Colton Chavez, 9 News.
It was one of those days where you just had to get higher in elevation to appreciate the nicer weather. Colton Chavez, thank you. So if you looked outside at some point in the metro area, you saw that fog that we've been talking about, one of those rare Denver days with zero sun. This is what it looked like across the metro area earlier today. Lookout Mountain and Horsetooth totally socked in particular, just completely covered to the point where you can't really see anything. The fog also disrupted travel at airports across the country. In Kansas City, the flight carrying the Chiefs was delayed out of the airport because of weather conditions there. They're still flying on their way to Denver right now in anticipation of their game tomorrow. According to the FlightAware app, there are more than 600 flights that have been delayed here in Denver, with nearly 40 canceled today. From peanut farmer to president, the life of Jimmy Carter was honored today. Carter's 6-day state funeral began with a motorcade in South Georgia. He passed away at the age of 100 last Sunday. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez is in Atlanta now with how his life is being remembered.
The nation and the world is honoring former President Carter. Earlier today, Carter's motorcade passed through his hometown of Plains, Georgia, where the streets were lined with people, and then the Carter family farm. They'll also be stopping at the Georgia State Capitol for a moment of silence led by Governor Brian Kemp before arriving here at the Carter Center, where there'll be an arrival ceremony and private service. The life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter honored in a state funeral Saturday. The Carter family traveling with the motorcade from Phoebe Sumter Medical Center to his historic boyhood farm in Plains, Georgia, where the National Park Service Honor Guard rang the famous farm bell 39 times, a nod to him being the 39th president. The motorcade then heading to Atlanta. Mourners along the route say goodbye to their beloved former leader.
The town has been ready for this moment. They've been preparing for this moment because he's been such an indelible part of this community for so long.
Carter grew up in the town of Plains. He became governor and was elected president in 1976. He was a one-term president, losing re-election to Republican Ronald Reagan in 1980. But it was his post-presidency years that laid the foundation for his legacy. He is remembered as a passionate humanitarian and a pioneer of human rights.
I want everybody to understand that, the grave is only getting the body. His spirit will live on forever, and the legacy that he left behind will live forever.
In 2002, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his decades of work to establish peaceful solutions to international conflicts. He also spent decades volunteering for Habitat for Humanity. Those close to him say he will be greatly missed, but his legacy lives on.
It leaves a void, but that void is all filled with so many wonderful memories and opportunities that he provided me.
Flowers have been placed on a sign outside of the Carter Center right behind me. The public will also be able to pay their respects to a man who had a humanitarian impact around the world. Carter will lie in repose until Tuesday morning, when he'll then be taken to Washington, D.C. for the official state funeral. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.